The Sustainable Waste Processing Project is an interdisciplinary project focusing on the sustainable disposal of food waste. Our project this semester has been focused on gaining a full understanding of Lehigh's current food waste disposal system and all the people and departments that could be involved in our project. This semester, our team conducted an experiment at Rathbone Dining Hall from March 23rd to March 30th, 2014. Rathbone Dining Hall is the campus's largest dining facility. It is a buffet-style restaurant that serves approximately 9,000 meals to students every week. We started off our project by researching how waste is currently dealt with at Rathbone. Students place their dirty dishes containing food waste on this shelf in the dining hall. Staff members on the other side of the shelf scrape all food waste, napkins, and anything else that might be on their plate into a large trough. Water rushes through the trough and pushes the food waste into a pulper, where it is ground up in a slurry that is 95% water. All pre-consumer waste that the dining hall produces, such as fruit and vegetable peels, is also added to the pulper. The mixture then runs through a pipe that takes it into the basement of Rathbone. In the basement, the slurry enters a centrifuge, which separates the water from the food waste, reducing the volume by 87%. The water is recovered and recycled back to the trough upstairs. After being processed in the pulper and the centrifuge, the waste looks like this. From the centrifuge, the waste is put into a dehydrator, which stirs and bakes the waste at 180 degrees for about 18 hours. The dehydrator further reduces the waste volume to 94% of its original volume, and it comes out looking like this. Once the waste is done cooking, it is dumped into a trash can on the loading dock, where it is picked up several times a week by Kugel's recycling service and delivered to Four Springs Farm, where it is added to their large compost pile. Since there is no recorded data of the amount of food waste Rathbone processes with their current system, our team decided to quantify it over the course of 1 week. For our experiment, we were able to obtain special permission to go behind the scenes and work at Rathbone Dining Hall. We worked on the loading dock in the basement, where the centrifuge and dehydrator are located. Joe Cornafel, Rathbone's executive chef, supervised our work on the loading dock and was an extremely helpful resource over the course of our experiment. For our experiment, we decided to measure the weight and the volume of the pre- and post-dehydrated waste produced at Rathbone once a day from March 23rd to March 30th, 2014. We first tried to do this by measuring an entire day's worth of waste all at once, using a standard bathroom scale and a large bucket, but the waste was too heavy for the scale to register it. Instead, we invested in an industrial-strength hanging scale for our weight measurements. We scooped the waste into several smaller buckets and weighed them one at a time on the hanging scale while recording the results. After it was measured, we dumped the waste into the dehydrator and labeled it with the day of the week to avoid any mix-ups. The next day, we returned to Rathbone to measure the dehydrated waste using the same bucket and scale method. We traveled to Rathbone and carried out this procedure for 1 entire week, and then compiled the results. We found that in 1 week there were 9,022 meals eaten and 1,722 pounds of food waste generated at Rathbone. After the waste was dehydrated, its weight was decreased to 436 pounds. By extrapolating this data over a 15-week spring semester where roughly 10,000 meals are served per week, we can approximate that Rathbone generated 26,000 pounds of raw food waste this semester. Also during this semester, our team traveled to Four Springs Farm to see the large compost piles that Lehigh's food waste is added to. Four Springs Farm receives food waste from many local restaurants and vendors. They have several large windrow compost piles that they turn daily with a large tractor until the waste has been broken down enough that it is suitable to be used as compost. Four Springs Farm then sells their finished compost to consumers by the square yard.